And they should make it so Draenei can be druids.
You gotta deal with goats going.
3, 2, 1.
Welcome back to another week of Server Restart In. It's your weekly World of Warcraft podcast with three opinionated players who like to get together to discuss their thoughts about the current state of the game. My name is Jim. I'm joined by Kristen.
Hello.
And Brian.
Hi.
And everybody's back from the dead.
Welcome back.
Yay. Somewhat, I guess.
Winter sucks.
Yeah. Winter sucks, the plague sucks, everybody sucks, and
Black Plague.
Yeah. But we're back, and there's been a couple of things that have come out that are pretty interesting. So, and having a week off means that we were able to kind of let things come out and get some stuff to actually talk about. Yay! We're going to talk about something that's actually going to affect the game itself, or gameplay itself. And what they did was about 5 days ago, they sent out a blue post basically announcing cross-faction co-play for dungeon raids, and PvP will be coming in patch 9.2.5.
That's pretty cool.
So,
When they say PvP, they mean like Battlegrounds?
So, yes. So, what it means is that currently guilds are going to stay single faction for the time being.
I like that for the time being.
For the time being, maybe they'll eventually allow it to not be,
cool.
but I mean, there's a lot more work that would need to be done for that kind of stuff to happen. Random.
Well, I hope that part's story driven. To be honest, I hope there's at least a story behind it that they can anchor to it.
Right, and I think that's probably why you're not going to see that stuff. And so everything that's going to be cross faction for the time being is going to be instanced content, not world content.
See, but I'm kind of different in that. Like, I'm kind of like I get why you say you'd like it to be story driven. Probably because you're thinking of it more from an RPG perspective, but I'm thinking of it more just from a separate that stuff from the story. And you can still continue telling the story, and I can still fight against the Alliance, such as it is. You know what I mean? The fighting that I do, I
still want to see the infiltrator thing. I really just say you renounce the Alliance and you want to fight for
that
the board.
too. I think that would be so cool.
They should make it so that your faction is a choice made by each character and not by the race that you select. Right. Kind of like, I don't know if they're... I can't think of any games.
And they should make it so Draenei can be druids.
Okay. Anyway, we're going to get back to actually what we're talking about.
Their travel form would be goats.
Yes! Oh my god, yes!
Oh my god, we're like 2 minutes in and you guys are derailed.
A little Val running around. Oh my god. Val!
Oh, anyway, it's all contained to instance things. So random match-made activities and guilds are going to be single or same faction. Single and same faction. So like if you queue up like random stuff, it's not going to be that. So raids, dungeons, and rated PvP will be cross-faction with a few exceptions in raids where there are faction-specific components. And they've listed Battle for Dazar'alor and Icecrown Citadel as examples. That is until they find a way to make it work. Because if you go in with a bunch of people mixed and then you get to the gunship battle in ICC, what side are you on? You're on different ships, right? Because those, were tailored towards your faction. Same thing with Battle for Dazar'alor. You start in different spots based on whether you're Horde or Alliance. So, I don't know if they'll put a switch in there maybe that when you to start the encounter, or like when you first enter the dungeon, it's like you pick a
faction to start as.
You pick a faction to play as just for the story stuff. So like you could get a bunch of Alliance, go in there and be like,
well, they should do it. They should do it just like they did the Black Morass dungeon back in the day, right? Wasn't that the one
already,
that we're?
But that's already designed that way, right? So Battle for Dazar lore is the Horde. We start fighting the Paladin and all that stuff, and have to fight our way up to find Rastakhan. The Alliance, if you do it, the Alliance raid, it's completely different. It doesn't start there. It starts at a different boss, and you work your way in. And then halfway through, you switch to the other faction's perspective. So, like, when we switch to Alliance for a couple bosses in Battle for Dazar lore when we fight, like, the Golem, the Treasure Golem, and all that stuff. So that's weird. You can't just be like, oh, well, you're just going to be whatever, because it's not, it's not meant to be like that. You know what I mean? So, because that's, Black Morass is just forcing everybody to Alliance, right?
Well, so like in the case of Battlegrounds, at least, I could see the potential for using that same style, like the dungeon, the way they did that dungeon back at BC, for BGs, right? So if there's more of one side, they can push them in. Like if there's a lot of Horde, not a lot of Alliance, and they need to fill BGs, you pour some of that onto the Alliance side, and they become Alliance characters. Like you look like an Alliance human or whatever, and nothing else really changes.
They're just starting right now with pre-made groups, basically, to just kind of get the ball rolling. So like that's why it's rated PvP, because when you do rated PvP, you're not really queuing per se.
Right, yeah. Well, you can still be rated PvP. You can still be same faction fights, right?
You could, yeah. Right, but that's what they're saying is like it allows you to group up with opposing faction to queue for rated PvP, which is gonna make comps really crazy now, because now you're gonna be like, okay, it's not just you got
how much you bet they take away the heavy features of the racial abilities.
Oh, that's what I'm wondering. That's going to be a lot of balancing for that. So, but just make it apply when you're in PvP. But they're also going.
Everybody gets Demon Hunter wings. Everybody,
yep, double jump and glide. Group Finder will be cross faction, but the group leader can choose to restrict it to the same faction if they want. So
I like that because it gives you options. But everybody has options, so you can decide whether or not you want to do it. Because some people don't want to. So, yeah.
Well, it's like if you don't want them in your thing, that's fine. You don't have to have them, but you can open it up or whatever. And so you can also directly invite members of the opposite faction with a battle tag, or if you're in a cross faction community, because they the community things that I don't ever use, like the group tabs or whatever, kind of like the guild thing, but because those can be cross faction, so you can invite people from that, which is kind of what they did when they first allowed cross-server partying for raids and stuff like that, where we could, you can invite people from other servers. Like, it's the reason that we can raid, because we have friends that are on other servers that raid with us. So that's cross-faction play, or not faction, cross-server play and all that stuff. So, yes, this is, when you're in a group with them, when you're outdoors, you'll still be hostile. So if you're in war mode, you could technically kill them if you wanted to. But once you enter the instance, kind of, your friend.
Did they explicitly say that?
Yes. It says once in a party together, members of the opposite faction will remain unfriendly while in the outdoor world and fully hostile in war mode.
That's not good.
Well, yeah, you might have some trolls and all that stuff.
Wait, what was it?
Yeah, right.
What was it?
Oh, you'll have some trolls. Once you form up in the party, you're still hostile or unfriendly or whatever towards the opposing faction until you enter the instance. Meaning that's gonna leave.
It should just pop them right into the instance.
You form up.
Oh, I guess
to go into a raid, you're standing outside the thing.
They should give them some sort of immunity to being.
Well,
hold on. The only thing it's a problem is if you're in war mode, you can't flag somebody for PvP.
Oh, I guess. And if
You know
you're
what I
in
mean?
war mode, why are you
If you're in
grouping up with another?
Well, I mean, if you're in war mode, you should be very sure of what group you're joining, that you're not going to get ganked, right?
Yeah.
Which is fine. I don't care.
This has got toxicity written all over it.
I don't care because I'm never going to do it, so it doesn't matter to me, but it would suck for people who,
See, the thing is that if you're going to join a group to go do instance content, you do not need to be in war mode to do the instance content. It has no effect on it, right? So if you're planning on doing that, you should just take it off. Sure, it's a pain or whatever, but anyway, it's going to be...
Just take it off.
Yeah, just take it off.
Just take it all off.
But, I mean, it's good, and this is a big deal. One, this is something that people have wanted for a long time, right? People have wanted, it's like, just let us play with our friends kind of thing,
Mm-hmm.
Now you don't have to worry about forcing people to play races and stuff like that they don't want. Granted, it's not everything, but it is a giant step in that direction. You know what I mean? It's not as if, they're kind of like, well, we'll think about it or we're looking into it kind of thing. It's happening. And it's also a big announcement as well, because it means that there's going to be more content or another, sub patch after 9.2. 9.2 is not the end. You know what I mean? Whether there's a 9.3 or not, I don't know. But it's not like, oh, here's 9.2, this is the end.
It's their way of saying, here, we need an extra year between 9.2 and 10.0.
Well, I don't know about
I'm
that.
winking.
I mean, yeah, it could be.
That's the gator. The Blizzard gator.
No,
is sitting there.
I don't think it's
arranging. He has this like holographic control panel,
kind of like Iron Man does with all the stuff, like
looking for opportunities to extend out time frames. Let's put a 6th month sub here with a shitty mount. That'll keep them for a year.
Yeah. If they would have come out with that cat mount for the 6-month sub, I feel like they would have gotten a lot more people on that 6-month sub. Because that cat mount was popular. Well, it was popular.
That cat mount was pissing my dog off that night. It was so funny.
But yeah, so cross faction gameplay. This is kind of big. It's maybe it's too little, too late for some people, kind of thing.
As long as I don't think so. I think a lot of people will appreciate it, honestly. And I welcome the move. I still would like to see at least story behind the conflict. I think the conflict is healthy, but to a certain extent, I want to see realistically behind it. Like, both sides have their own perception of good and bad from the story perspective. There's obviously always going to be sides that have people that don't feel the same way, and I would love to see arcs of stories where one side decides that they align more with the other, right? Because that is threaded throughout the books, even between Jaina and Thrall, and even Thrall's origination, right, with his trainer or sergeant captain dude, whoever trained him.
Yeah, and
there was some sort of relationship there where like they had some level of respect or something. I don't really remember.
So they do address that, right? And it says, there are likely those who have read this far with some unease, worried that this is chipping away at a foundational principle of Warcraft. At BlizzCon in 2019, when an attendee asked about cross-faction play, we responded at the time that Alliance and Horde separation is a pillar of what makes Warcraft Warcraft. But upon reflection, that's an oversimplification. Alliance and Horde identity is what is fundamental to Warcraft. While at times that identity has been one of division and open conflict, we've seen Alliance and Horde find common ground and working together ever since Warcraft 3. notably including the last time a Warcraft chapter was named Eternity's End. So they're kind of tying that in, since I guess that was a thing in Warcraft 3. And it says, and the instances of cooperation in World of Warcraft itself are too numerous to count. So there's already a foundation of cooperation. So this move isn't necessarily without, out of the blue. It's not, like, oh, we're just making a hard left out of nowhere kind of thing. So there is, precedence for it, right? And it's not saying that there's not still that conflict between the factions at large, because it's not into the open world. And I think that if they're going to move to allowing open world group content to be cross faction, that they will also have a in-game explanation for it, so that it doesn't just feel just out of the blue all of a sudden, that all of a sudden now you can waltz into, Ogremar on your night elf being like, hey guys, what's up? This is a pretty nice town here. Be afraid if somebody were to drop a match or something, not that, yeah, but so I don't know. It feels like they're doing it, and they're being cautious with it too. They're not.
Which is the important fact. Like, as long as they take an iterative approach to it, instead of just paint it on and say that's it.
Yeah,
I'm happy,
and they're talking about it. They're communicating their thoughts on this. You know what I mean? It's not like it's just we get a trailer for 925 or for 92 or whatever going, new feature, cross faction play, and it's like, oh, that's great. They're talking about, this is something that kind of came out, and we were against it, but we've looked back on it, and we are open to making this change and seeing how it goes. So there you go. We got the ability to have all the hooved races play together. But
you gotta deal with goats going.
Yeah. So yeah, that's and this could potentially lead to a third faction, where it's a mix between everything. It could lead to faction no longer being tied to your race. Where you could make a character and then you pick what faction that you want to represent, which there would probably have to be a lot of story points to kind of make that more viable or easier to swallow for some people, because making a Draenei or making a Night Elf that's part of the Horde, you'd kind of have to have a really good reason to do that, because they probably really don't like the Horde right now. So, it wouldn't make too much sense. But yes, that is pretty much what's going on with that. So there was some other news that came out, and Blizzard has basically updated their terms of service, and boosting communities are no longer allowed. And what that is not necessarily boosting in general, but basically there were boosting communities where you could go to, and a lot of them I guess were Discord servers and stuff like that. You could go, hey, I want to get this character boosted, and then they would basically be like a bookie or something like that and facilitate connecting you with somebody that would boost you, for a fee, and like the boosters would get a cut, and then the corporation or the group the community that was running it would get a cut, kind of thing. So they were basically selling boosts, and it was cross faction, and it was not cross faction, but it was cross server. And they would make characters like it's all the advertising, that you would see where like you have like these level 1 characters advertising for these things, telling you where to go when you go there, and then like the person that's advertising isn't the one directly doing it. So they're still allowing boosting and advertising in trade chat only. So you can't do cross server boosting. You can't sell it cross server. It has to be in your server group. So trade chat, you know, it has to be, you have to be the one that's participating in it, like your guild or your group or whatever and stuff like that. So I don't know. It'd be interesting to see. That's supposedly going to get rid of a lot of like the RMT stuff going on, because I don't know. That was another kind of big thing that came out, and it was interesting to see a lot of people were like, "Yay, this is good," and other people like, "This is bullshit." You know, boosting is bad. Period. And then there are people like, "Well, just leave them alone." So I don't know. I don't know if this is gonna reduce.
Some of us were like, "Oh, that's a thing." That
I didn't know.
I didn't know that. I thought it was just a CEO.
Oh yeah, it was just Yabara was the only booster.
I don't think so. He's probably just the most vocal one, you know.
I mean, he wasn't even advertising it. He just said that was what he was going to be doing, meaning his guild was doing it on their server,
like on the quarterly sales report with the investors, and he just shills in at the very end, like, boost on my server tonight. Anyone's interested? By the way, we're down monthly active users. Oh, sad.
You see him like in like this whole newsroom. You know what we need? We need more boosts, but they need to be on the server. But I don't know. It's just a lot of it. You know, you see in any of like the fucking group finder stuff where you're looking for something, you'll see a lot of posts with like basically just like website names and stuff in there for the title and all that stuff, and it's just like, get the fuck out of here. It's annoying, you know. But we will see. That is, I don't know. It's a good move, I think. And I don't. It doesn't really affect us because none of us do it or participate in it in any way. I've never had a character boosted. I don't work at a boosting community. I don't belong to any of them. So,
like, to be clear, these things are like they take cuts of the gold that's transferred through.
I think so.
So are they like reselling that gold? Then is that one of the issues? Like, what's the underlying driver for all this?
I think it's that. I think that they're charging. You know, it's real money trading. Basically, is what it boils down to. It facilitates it. Even if the community is on the up and up, and it's only in-game gold and all that stuff. You got to think, if you're doing cross-faction stuff, you're moving currency from one server group to another with, you know, so it's like it could be fucking up economies on the different servers if you have gold coming out but no gold going in because people are paying to have, like, and you got like this community is based on this server group, so all the gold's kind of going in there. So the only way to really do that is to, you know, buy tokens and sell them, or, you know, just stuff like that. You know, it's just, it fucks up the economies on the servers. And if, you know, and I guess that their thing is like, you know what, if you're going to do it and you're keeping the gold in the community, in the server that you're in, it's less impactful because then those people are using, you know, like guilds do it to get supplies for their raiding, right? Yes. A lot like the mythic guilds do that. They spend their off time doing clears and all that stuff and boosts and whatnot so that they can buy the supplies and be prepared for the next raid. You know, so that's putting stuff into the economy, you know, from other things, you know, and it also keeps the money in, and I guess Blizzard's pocket, because if people need gold to do it, they have to go buy tokens or farm the gold or something. You know what I mean? It's just like, whatever. I don't know. It's not really, apparently there's a lot of it with PvP too. So you probably have fixed matches for like different rankings and stuff like that. And it's just, I don't know. carrying in PvP is kind of bullshit. Because, I don't know. It's all kind of bullshit, but anyway, I don't know. That's kind of it for that. I mean, I don't know if anybody has any thoughts on that other than it's a thing.
It is a thing. I don't have thoughts on it though.
I mean, it doesn't really impact us much.
I mean, but boosting for gold has always been in the game in one form or the other. I think they condemned it back in Classic because people were like selling runs and like Blackwing Layer or something like that, and it convinced some guild or some guilds to stop doing it, which kind of doesn't make sense. I don't know. I mean, if they have the power to do it, by all means, let them do it. And, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. It's going to be tied. They're creating a service that moves money through the internal economy. I think when you introduce stuff like this, where it's more cross realm, kind of like you were saying, when you hit the out of bounds that the game allows with stuff like this, then you introduce some more complications with inbounds. But I don't know that. I mean, you can already buy gold through the game service, so does it really throw that much off? Like, worst case, they're just going to that the service balances the price of gold internally based on supply, or I think this is based on demand. But the demand generates the supply, I guess you might say. So really, does it actually throw anything off overall? I don't know.
I don't know. That would be a study of things that I don't want to get into because.
No, I agree. Like at that point, like if people have the money for the gold and they want to pay somebody so that they can have good gear, okay.
Yeah,
right?
but at that point, it's kind of like pay to win, which sucks. We condemn it.
I agree.
In other games, so I feel like we should hold WoW to the same standard. When a new game comes out and you look and you're like, oh, well, you can buy all the best gear on the cash shop. We're like, oh my God, pay to win, which, reasonably so. I mean, you want the whole point for me of an MMO is the journey to get better gear, or the journey, you know what I mean? You don't just level up and throw the best gear on your alts, or your main character. You go through. It's kind of like why when we raid, I kind of hate it when we pug, right? I like it when we have everybody together, because we're all going on that journey together. It's a journey together for all of us to get through the first raid boss to the last raid boss. For me, that's what it is. My playstyle is not the same playstyle as everybody's playstyle, obviously. Other people care more about, blah, 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 getting the better gear, Me, it's all about us working together to get to the, end boss and it's the journey. And it's not about the gear. Now, before it wasn't like that, right? Before I was fully on that gear treadmill, blah, blah, blah. We were doing, heroic. We were doing some mythic. We were trying our hardest to, doing everything in my power to get better gear so that way we could keep progressing, So I don't know. Maybe that's, but back on the pay to win part, because I totally went off of that topic. I don't know. It just feels like if you can just buy the best gear, it negates that journey. I don't know. Does that make sense?
It's tough. It's tough too, because I say my argument is like the token's already there and you can buy gold, but if it wasn't there, it would be somewhere else. People are buying it, and it's like,
yeah,
I don't know. Like it's almost just like whack-a-mole at that point, in my opinion. Because I absolutely agree the same way. I think my point more so is just like, at this point in time, I think it's more indirect than it probably was in the past. If you had gotten boosted in the past expansions here and there, not all of them necessarily, you could substantially be a lot further along than other people. And that kind of sucks because it was way more complicated to be able to get into a guild, sustain your place as in a raid slot, and then have the opportunity to get gear, which is highly complicated. It's a little less complicated nowadays, but it's still like you kind of have to put the effort in to be a part of the team to have the chance to do it. So to have somebody bypass that really does suck. But at the same time, like, you know, again, like if the underlying driver for all this is really, you know, I don't know, let's say it's gold selling, right? Like, well, maybe, I don't know, the problem is all over the place.
Yeah.
And so like they fix one problem and then they fix this problem, then fix that problem. And it's like, who, whatever at this point, you know, that's like the build. Okay. So you can't make a website that brokers boosts for people. Okay. Well, in general, if you're going to allow it anyways on individual servers, you know, what changes?
Yeah.
Like, I get you. Maybe there's some dark or, you know, bad people, bad actors, whatever you call them. And maybe you're fixing that problem. But, you know, even half of us had no idea that existed. So,
Right.
you know, where's the consideration for the more important things, right? As far as like, having a real RPG where people invest their money and time into it and actually get rewarded out of it, rather than have the whales with all the money
Right.
bypass the folks and get
Right.
ahead. So
Right.
I don't know. It sucks. It sucks no matter which way
Yeah.
which way you look at it. So,
Yeah, that's
but
the hard part.
I absolutely agree. Because like even now, like I wasn't with the raid last week, but I did watch you guys kill
Yay.
or finish
Oh
off
yeah,
this
that's like our
fight.
biggest news, isn't it?
Yeah,
like our
we
raid.
finally
It was so
killed
cool.
Sylvanas.
We defeated Sylvanas.
Jim
She's
doesn't
not
like it when
dead.
I say we killed her.
Sylvanas is kind of dead.
Yeah.
The Sylvanas
She's-
3.0
Yeah. Yeah.
is here.
She's
I
not
just-
dead.
She's not dead yet.
Okay, well, no, she's not dead anymore. I guess she's undead.
Yeah.
No.
Undead.
I just like teasing Jim because he hates it when I say that we
Well,
killed her.
Jim shouldn't like her anymore because now
Yeah.
she's like
Yeah.
not her anymore.
She's not her.
We don't know it yet.
He liked the undead version.
Yeah, that's right. He doesn't
She's
like
technically
this new
still
version.
undead. She's still,
Is she?
yeah, she just has her soul back.
She just has her soul back, yeah.
This shit don't make no goddamn sense.
Yeah,
I'm
she's
sorry.
still
Sure it
dead.
does.
She's still dead.
No, it don't.
Sure it does.
Well,
Frostmourne fractured her soul and took away part of
Okay.
it,
And then
and
the
she was
jailer
raised
gets
as
So-
a banshee with some part of her soul left that didn't have all the other good stuff
Was she raised?
as a banshee.
Like quite literally, she was raised back from the dead.
Arthas
Arthas did it.
raised,
Yeah.
killed her, and turned her into a banshee
Okay.
in Warcraft 3.
Okay.
Yeah, she's literally undead. That's why she's the leader of the faction of
Okay.
undead.
But you probably liked her purple or red eyes better than you like her blue eyes. So
I mean, I have blue eyes. I don't know what that means.
Okay.
But-
Wow. That took a weird turn.
We haven't seen enough of the new Sylvanas models for me to have an opinion on that yet.
that's fair.
You know,
What?
I liked Sylvanas as a character.
I did too.
And I think they did her a disservice.
I think it's funny because that's something else, and I don't have anything pulled up ready to talk about it because I haven't read anything about it.
Oh.
But apparently, the reason her story is the way it is because I want to say it was the Afsrabi guy.
Yeah.
Like,
I read
did
about
some
that.
shit and
he
like
was
he
and then
was
he
petty?
left. Well, okay. Somebody said that he was petty, but
and didn't like the character, so
I-
put her on this path.
right. So I think what happened was he put her. I think what happened, because I have zero knowledge of this, but just from reading, because when they had mentioned this, I was watching some streamers and where they were talking about it. And what they were saying was, so Afrasiabi, whatever his name is, was in charge of the story, and then Dan User, so Afrasi whatever, left, and then Dan User and the team inherited what was left of the story, and they were kind of scrambling to kind of fix what he had, because he probably had an idea for where to go with all of this, right? He probably had, whatever big brain, lore stuff going on, whatever those people, think of.
At what point did he leave in the story?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
He probably had Zoval and a thong at one point.
Maybe. But, he probably had it all. He probably had it all played out in his story, or in his head. This is where we're going to go. This is, plot point, blah, 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 blah. And then he left. And he left everybody in a lurch because, of course, he left or he got fired or whatever happened. I don't know. Anyway, he wasn't going to sit there and be like, well, this is what I had planned, because why would you do that? You're pissed because, you're no longer with the company, right? So you're not going to be all, oh, hey, well, this is, let me throw you a bone, this is where I was going to go with it. This is, blah, 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 blah. Right? Not saying that he's like some story god or anything, but you know what I mean? Like, so they kind of did their best with what they had. So it'll be interesting to see where they go post Jailer and post story. You know what I mean? Because I feel like the poor lore team probably is, I'm willing to give them a little bit of a pass because they're kind of picking up the tatters of what, had happened, and maybe they'll do better post Shadowlands. You know what I mean? Maybe the next X pack will be better. I'm willing to give them the benefit of the doubt, right?
Well, hopefully they get to the point where they can stop trashing characters that have huge potential, because between her lover and their little relationship
Which wait,
could have had some form of redemption.
He's still not anywhere.
I'm guessing we're going to see Nathanos.
The Headless Horseman.
I guess this is what they're getting at.
Did you hear that?
Did you just say he's the Headless Horseman?
He's the Headless Horseman.
The Headless Horseman. Oh God. Maybe this is their way of getting her to her redemption as good as they can. You know what I mean? Because now her soul is not fractured anymore. Now she is whole. So she can start rebuilding and she can start fixing the things that she...
It would be interesting to see how, because Nathanos is Nathanos. Like, it's not like he's missing anything, right? So it would be interesting to see how he would respond
to her,
to the new Sylvanas,
and how she would respond to him.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to see how that works.
Jim would be very interested to see how that works,
because she might be a free agent.
Oh my God,
it would be weird, but it was such a step away from just the normal, like, here's the baddie, here's the antagonist, here's what we're gonna do about it, right? The fact that they can weave in these little love stories that have just whether you like it or not, the love and passion should drive
devotion,
devotion, conflict, all these things, right? And they put these things in, even going back to that damn book with what was the dude's name? Shaw and his
Matthias Shaw.
Yeah, and their interactions and stuff.
And Flint, Flynn.
It still promotes healthy story that that humanizes the game itself, which has a chance to bring it back down to earth, if you will.
Yeah.
Right? The fact that we could actually imagine that we have a content patch where we focus on, I don't know, something along the lines of
the dating
dealing
game?
with these. No. Dealing with like the
Valentine's Day patch. Dun,
You
dun,
guys are
dun.
you're gonna fuck me up, and I can't even think about what I was trying to say.
Sorry.
Who's the final boss dude in Dead Mines originally?
Oh, Van Cleef.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he was
Daughter.
a part of some union. The whole reason that he exists is because of some difference.
Because the King of Storeroom wouldn't pay them.
Yeah.
And that's the Defias Brotherhood started because they wouldn't pay him, so they said, fuck you, we're destroying everything
I
that...
think Kingsman.
Yeah. It was like stone builders, something.
Yeah, they were like
I don't know.
masons and
Masons.
builders, carpenters, yeah.
Yeah. So, like, imagine that a content patch could actually get back to the point of having that size of scope where you deal with more relevant issues on a smaller scale.
Yeah.
Like, it's hard. It may be hard to perceive it right now, but we could actually get back to that point.
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
it doesn't have to be so astronomical.
Because then it feels
every
more
single
manageable.
expansion.
And you don't have to have that stupid power creep where we need to be this freaking amazingly powerful person to, you know, like hive mind and everybody can, you know, gets together like in the Eternals and, you know, becomes
They
one
can have conflict
unimind.
built into it. Even
You know?
even where conflict stretches between zones.
Yeah.
You know, you could push back and forth and there's so many opportunities there if they could just reel all the shit back down.
Yeah.
A lot.
Dial it down.
It's going to take a very unique and creative way to get back to that.
WoW 2.
Well, the point is, like, they need to do it over time by all means. There's
Yeah.
no way they could do it just on a whim.
I
But
wish-
I think little things like that, sprinkling little storylines in and respecting them and not fucking them up or throwing them away.
Yep.
Like fucking Buam Samdi, right? Ah, such a great character. Such an
Good
amazing character.
Yep.
And Zul'jin, his character in general was always so badass with
Yes.
respect to like
Who?
how, yeah, exactly. How he
No, did you say Zul'jin?
Vol'jin.
Zul'jin, sorry.
Yeah, yeah.
You're
He's so
thinking-
great. I don't know his name.
Cut that out. So
Nope.
yeah, but like the way that he was like dedicated to the horde and all these
Yeah.
things in a very respectful way,
Yes.
the same way that the Bane and Papa
Even
were.
Thrall.
Yeah, it was the horde before
Yeah.
Garrosh got into it.
Yes.
Right.
Where it was-
it just
Where it became
It gave
very,
it
like,
such a great
xenophobic
story,
and,
like-
you know, the
yeah.
orcs and blah 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 and yeah.
And honestly, like I think they did Varian kind of.
I
He had
do too.
a badass going out, but I think they
Yeah.
did his character shit.
I agree.
He didn't, you know what I mean? He didn't exist until like what, BC or Lich King,
Yeah.
and then he's gone a few expansions later.
Yeah.
And he was a pretty badass, fucking Saiyan looking
Yeah.
dude, and he's pretty cool.
He had a pretty good story. He did have a pretty good backstory, which was
Yeah,
nice.
like where he was off doing something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
He was like
but
doing the Fight Club stuff, right? The fighting team with his orc pals. You know,
I don't know.
I don't know much about Varian Rin.
I don't know either.
he was the wolf. As they called him, I can't remember it. But anyway, he was. That was why, like when Vol'jin died and Varian died, like there were the Alliance people and the Horde people on the Alliance side over kind of giving their respects because they were, you know, they were part of that.
Oh yeah, there was that one
Yeah.
guy that was there from the
Yeah.
book.
Yeah.
That you can go find. There was a human
Mm-hmm.
that came to Vol'jin's funeral, and you can find him during that scene. Go talk to him.
Mm-hmm.
He's off on the other side of the road, up on one of the rocks or whatever. He showed up there out of respect for Vol'jin because he knew Vol'jin, but he was a human. So
Interesting.
And Valera Sanguinar, she was part of the thing with Varian. And somebody else, and I can't remember.
Oh, even what was the guy from Lich King that led that effort to Ice Crown? Tyrion. That was kind of a weird ending for him.
well,
Whenever you go
okay.
Yeah.
Tyrion was supposed to get raised as one of the 4 horsemen of the Death Knight
Right.
things.
Oh, and
then
they said no because they didn't
They
want to.
pushed out on that.
Yeah.
That would have been fucking
Have we
amazing.
seen him? Like, has he been?
No, he dead.
Okay, we're in the Shadowlands with all the dead people.
No, he did.
Oh, I think the light. Wasn't it the light that like technically
I don't know.
took him? I don't know
He
how that works,
well,
but
I mean, because like the Legion killed him and like screwed him. Yeah, so I don't know because you don't see Varian either.
Yeah.
it's a fucking stupid.
I think that we're gonna see
stupid way of
Varian.
doing it.
I think we're gonna see Varian in the Anduin stuff, maybe because
Maybe we get the Dragon Balls and bring them back.
His locket at the end of that cutscene, or his watch thing at the end of that cutscene, and I feel like
The
that's
compass?
the compass. Yeah, I feel like that's a little bit of foreshadowing that maybe he's gonna help bring Anduin back or something.
No, they've already kind of talked about that when you
Oh.
watch the thing at in Korthia, where Jane is like, he left it there so that we know that he's still fighting it.
Oh,
You know,
I see.
like he left it there on purpose to know that he still has some sort of control.
Or he found it and he's like, "What the fuck is this?
Yeah.
What is this garbage? Who's this guy? He doesn't exist.
This
he
is bullshit."
He was
I give
he
in.
was fell eradicated.
He was fodder for
He was fell fodder.
fell fodder. Oh my god. Oh my god. Yeah, no, I
I don't know. If you get killed by Fell, maybe you don't go to the Shadowlands. Maybe you're just destroyed.
maybe you're absorbed into, you turn into a demon in the Twisting Nether, and we're gonna, at some point, we're gonna fight demon with Varian's face. Could go that way.
Well, so yeah, because he was fell sploded, and
Exploded.
Vol'jin was just poisoned. So, because we know his spirit's still around because we've seen it. And did they tie him up? I need to finish the fucking Nightface storyline.
Yes. Yes, I don't want to quote it because I will badly quote it, but yes, they did.
Okay, I need to go finish that storyline because I got to follow through that. Yeah. God, that's just going to bring us back to another fucking complaint about how they split the story into 4 different fucking parts.
Yeah, I don't like that.
That was kind of a bad idea.
Yeah.
Especially since it was not easy to do it through another faction or to without doing another character, you know? Anyway. Yep. That's, I don't know, that's kind of all I really have to talk about. Got another DK to 60 last night or the other day, so got like 3 left for the Horde. So
I played BC for like 30 minutes.
nice.
I didn't play
What level did you
anything.
get? 1.5?
I'm still level 62, so
Yeah.
my boosted guy is still sitting the same spot he was 10 months ago or whatever.
Yeah.
Glad you used that boost.
I
Yeah.
mean, yeah.
But anyway, thanks everybody for listening
Yeah.
to us ramble on. Glad to be back. Glad to
Mm-hmm.
have everybody in better health than they were before.
Yep.
You can check us out at facebook.com/server restart in. Shoot a tweet at server_restart. Send us your favorite fish.
I knew
And,
that was coming.
Oh,
It's February. It has to be something else now.
nope.
Who's your favorite president?
Nope. All right. Anyway,
What?
Of any country.
Oh
of
my
any
God.
country. All right. We'll catch you guys later. Thanks for
Jesus.
listening. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.